I had a understanding and a lesson from 2025. I get pretty contemplative at the end of the year into the next one, and this year in particular, probably more so, because I felt like I really just existed in 2025. And I want to tell you a story. So, 2025, for a handful of months, this would be my average day. I'd wake up, get ready for work, watch YouTube or some sort of video. I would drive to work, 7-ish minute commute, listening to music. I would then work for 7.5, 8.5 hours, whatever you want to say. And I am a content creator. Like I build videos, animations, graphics, all that stuff. And so there's usually music in my ears or another tutorial to help me build something I don't quite understand. So, and even during breaks, I'm like watching some other YouTube content. I really got into the Minecraft stuff last year. And then I would drive home, obviously listen to music on the ride home. And then I would get home to make dinner for my wife and I would put some sort of YouTube video on while I'm making dinner. My wife and I would typically eat together, and then we would watch Netflix or something, or I'd go play video games with my friends. And then I'd end the night off with scrolling on my phone and or reading, which I kind of got into the end of last year. That was a typical day for me. And I feel like that typical day probably isn't atypical for most people. And I don't know where the realization came from. I've watched so much content podcasts this past year, but man, for those like few months that was happening, or handful of months, I just existed. Josh as a human was doing the things, but me as like a person really felt like I was like adrift. I can barely remember what I did for those few months. And so I think one of the biggest things I want to do for 2026 is I want to experience it and not just exist. And I have a handful of ideas I want to run for the YouTube channel, for my own life, that I want to like be it. I want 2026. I want to look at the end of the year. A big question I ask is, if I could fast forward to the end of 2026 and I look back at this year, what would I consider a win? What would I consider a good thing that I did or something I'm proud of? And so I'm trying to apply that question now into those things. And one of those things is understanding small decisions are actually really important to us in an everyday life. So some of those small decisions I'm trying to actively do in those small moments, like, hey, my phone doesn't go in the bedroom anymore. It's charging in my office or somewhere in the house. It is no longer in my bedroom. It's too much of a distracting device, and I know I don't necessarily have the willpower to not do it. So that's gone. Get it out of there. 2, I go for a walk every day. Now my dog is right here. I don't think Sarge is gonna wake up, but he's right there. He's asleep because we just went for one. And I found getting up early, going for a walk. I live in Canada. It's -30 sometimes. You bundle up. It's a short one. But it's so helpful and so healthy for my brain. I think I'm just trying to give my brain breathing room, if that makes any sense. I just want to be able to think. Like the walks I go on, there's no headphones. I try to check my phone. Like I just try to go on the walk and be by myself with Sarge, who can be a bit of a menace. I want my brain to be able to be bored and to work through problems and not just what seems like an never-ending amount of noise to just keep it at bay. Because I don't think that's healthy. And it's so easy to do that nowadays. So I think for me, 2026 will be a year of experience. And I would encourage you to do the same. I would say no one's going to come force you to do that. Learn that lesson too. No one's going to come say, hey, Josh, you got to make that YouTube video. Like even now, this was like a week process. Because I'm like the video guy in my friend group. Like this is what I do. This is who I am. And I was so stressed about it not looking good or not being polished enough or I'm not, the video isn't interesting enough. It doesn't keep your attention for long enough. And I was like, oh, it's going to be awkward. I'm a perfectionist. Like the fact that my light right here is a testament to I'm trying to fight that perfectionism back. It's in the shot. And I think that's okay. The lighting looks good. I want to get out of that existing mindset. I want to get out of that perfectionism. And I just want to experience 2026. And I'm going to try to document it as best I can. And I encourage you to experience 2026 too. All right. This video is long enough. I've rambled for long enough. Stay hydrated. I'll see you next week. Peace.